Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a profession that's close to my heart, nursing. Specifically, the hidden challenges nurses face while working in New Zealand. You may think nursing in a beautiful country like New Zealand sounds like a dream, but the reality is far from simple. The work can be incredibly rewarding, but many nurses are struggling with emotional and physical challenges that often go unnoticed. Stay tuned, because some of these challenges might surprise you. Let's start with one of the biggest challenges: chronic understaffing. You might think that a country like New Zealand would have a well-resourced healthcare system, but the truth is that hospitals across the country are severely understaffed. Nurses are often responsible for too many patients at once, leading to exhaustion and burnout. Did you know that New Zealand has one of the highest patient-to-nurse ratios among developed nations? It's shocking, right? On a busy shift, a single nurse might be responsible for 8 to 10 patients or more, making it nearly impossible to provide the kind of care patients truly need. This isn't just stressful, it can be dangerous. Nurses are left with little time to double-check medications or respond quickly to emergencies, putting patients at risk. Speaking of emotional challenges, let's talk about burnout and mental health. Nursing is already a stressful job, but in New Zealand, nurses are facing a silent crisis. Long shifts, emotional strain, and the constant pressure to perform are pushing many nurses to their breaking point. Nearly half of New Zealand's nurses report experiencing burnout, and that's just those who come forward. Many are suffering in silence, dealing with depression, anxiety, and overwhelming fatigue. Some nurses have shared heartbreaking stories of breaking down in tears in hospital bathrooms because they just can't take it anymore. The mental toll of nursing in an understaffed system is often hidden, but it's very real. Now, let's talk about money. Nursing is a tough job, and you'd expect that such hard work would be well compensated, right? Unfortunately, that's not always the case in New Zealand. While the pay for nurses here isn't terrible compared to some countries, it doesn't reflect the level of responsibility and stress nurses are under. On average, nurses in New Zealand earn around 70,000 New Zealand dollars a year, but when you factor in the cost of living, especially in cities like Auckland and Wellington, it's barely enough. The rising cost of housing, food, and utilities is making it harder for nurses to make ends meet. Some nurses are even working extra shifts or taking on second jobs just to stay afloat. Can you imagine saving lives all day, only to go home and worry about how you'll pay rent? Here's something that might shock you: violence in the workplace. You wouldn't think that nurses, who dedicate their lives to caring for others, would face violence on the job. But in New Zealand, incidents of verbal and physical abuse against nurses are on the rise. Nurses have reported being physically assaulted by patients or even their family members. Some have been kicked, spat on, or threatened with violence. It's heartbreaking because nurses are just trying to help, but they often find themselves in dangerous situations without proper security or support. Many nurses have expressed feeling vulnerable and unsupported when these incidents happen, which adds even more emotional stress to an already challenging job. A significant portion of New Zealand's nursing workforce comes from abroad, particularly from countries like the Philippines, India, and South Africa. While these nurses bring invaluable skills, they often face hidden challenges related to immigration and cultural barriers. Nurses who move to New Zealand face cultural differences that can make their work harder. Language barriers, differences in medical practices, and feelings of isolation can leave many foreign nurses struggling to adjust. And despite their hard work, some face discrimination or are paid less than their local counterparts. It's a tough situation for nurses who are already under immense pressure. Despite all these challenges, many nurses in New Zealand stay in the profession because they genuinely care about their patients. Nursing is more than just a job for them. It's a calling. They love the human connection, the feeling of helping someone heal, and the sense of purpose that comes with the role. But even with all that passion, something needs to change. Nurses can't continue to pour from an empty cup. They need more support, better pay, and a safer working environment. So, what can be done? First, New Zealand needs to address the staffing crisis by hiring more nurses and offering competitive pay. Nurses also need access to better mental health support to cope with the emotional strain of the job. And workplace safety must be taken seriously. No one should fear violence while caring for others. If we don't make these changes, we risk losing some of our most valuable healthcare workers. And it's not just about nurses. It's about the quality of care all of us receive when we step into a hospital or clinic. We need to do better for them and for ourselves. Thanks for watching today's video. If you're a nurse in New Zealand or thinking about becoming one, I hope this gave you some valuable insight into the real challenges that come with the job. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts. And remember, supporting our nurses means supporting our healthcare system as a whole. See you next time.